Hello and welcome back to the Fusion Industry Association. My name is Adrian Carrillo, and I'm a master's student at the University of Washington focusing on computational plasma physics. Today is March 18th, and the main stories are: Number 1. KIT advances breeding blanket designs and fusion materials. Number 2. FIA Member FirstLight Fusion validates tritium breeding in its flare power plant design. Number 3. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission publishes a draft rule for fusion energy regulation. And number 4, a new DOE report highlights plasma diagnostics as a key bottleneck for commercial fusion. And of course, we'll have some bonus stories at the end that you don't want to miss out on. KIT advances breeding blanket designs and fusion materials. The Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany is pushing forward on two areas that their fusion program identifies as potential technological showstoppers for the industry: tritium self-sufficiency and neutron-resistant materials. A breeding blanket sits around the fusion plasma and has two jobs. The first job is to generate tritium from lithium under neutron irradiation so the device can produce its own fuel. The second job is to efficiently extract heat. And getting both of those right under extreme neutron and thermal loads is an enormous engineering challenge. KIT's approach is to tackle this holistically. They operate dedicated facilities like HELOCA, which is a helium loop that can test heat removal and material interactions at high temperatures without a fusion neutron source. For the other half of the equation, which is qualification under actual neutron bombardment, that requires entirely different infrastructure, and worldwide, strategies for achieving this under relevant conditions are still being developed. KIT developed the European baseline structural steel Eurofer to meet these requirements, and they operate the fusion materials laboratory for characterizing irradiated and radioactive samples. KIT also makes an important broader point, which is that breeding blankets and material durability are currently not the primary focus of the emerging private fusion industry, and that makes sustained public research in these areas indispensable. Number 2. FIA Member FirstLight Fusion validates tritium breeding in its flare power plant design. Fusion devices running on a deuterium-tritium fuel face a fundamental supply problem. Deuterium is abundant, you can extract it from seawater, but tritium is not. In fact, the entire global civilian inventory is estimated at around 20 kilograms. And because tritium has a half-life of about 12 years, that supply is constantly decaying. As mentioned in the previous note, the solution is to breed tritium inside the device itself, using lithium and the neutrons produced by fusion reactions. The metric here is what's called a tritium breeding ratio, or TBR, which measures how much tritium you produce relative to how much you consume. A TBR of 1 means break even. Anything above that means you're producing more fuel than you're consuming it. FIA Member FirstLight's flare design achieves a TBR of 1.8. Their CEO, Mark Thomas, says this is the highest TBR announced by any system to date. The design surrounds the fusion reaction with a liquid lithium bath, and high-energy neutrons interact with the lithium to generate new tritium. To build confidence in the result, separate studies were conducted by FIA Member FirstLight and by the radiation physics team at Nuclear Technologies, a business unit of TVSUD UK, each using different simulation tools and databases. At their current 333 megawatt design point, flare could potentially generate a net tritium surplus of 25 kilograms per year, more than the world's current entire inventory, while reaching self-sufficiency in as little as a week. An important caveat here is that flare is a fully developed technical concept with a roadmap, but still remains in the design and validation stage. It is not yet a physical, operational device. Still, demonstrating a credible path to tritium surplus addresses one of the most frequently cited bottlenecks for commercial fusion, which is that even devices that achieve break-even breeding still face the problem of securing enough tritium for their initial startup. Number 3. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission publishes a draft rule for fusion energy regulation. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission has published a draft rule establishing a regulatory framework for fusion energy. For background, back in 2023, the NRC voted to regulate fusion under a less stringent framework than the fission technology used in current power plants. That was a conceptual decision. This draft rule is the next concrete step, laying out specific regulations around the possession, use, and production of byproduct materials associated with fusion, including tritium. The NRC noted that fusion machines can produce tritium, neutrons, and neutron activation products that need to be properly contained to protect public health and safety. The Fusion Industry Association said the NRC's move is a step towards clear regulations and that they are reviewing the draft. The comment period is open through May 27th. This matters because regulatory clarity is one of the key enablers for private investment. Companies designing fusion power plants need to know the rules that they'll be building to, and a defined regulatory pathway reduces uncertainty and helps the industry plan towards deployment in the 2030s. And number 4, a new DOE report highlights plasma diagnostics as a key bottleneck for commercial fusion. A new report backed by the US Department of Energy argues that the path to commercial fusion may depend heavily on better ways to measure what's happening inside of the plasma. This came out of a 2024 DOE workshop on measurement innovation, organized through the Office of Science's Fusion Energy Sciences program. 70 researchers from universities, national labs, and private companies contributed, examining 7 areas of plasma and fusion science. The core message is that running a fusion device safely and consistently requires precise, real-time measurements of plasma temperature, density, and stability. The instruments that do this, called diagnostics, face serious challenges in the fusion environment, in particular, surviving intense neutron radiation over long periods. The report identifies several priorities, such as developing diagnostics that can survive the radiation inside of future devices, creating measurement techniques fast enough for the rapid timescales of inertial confinement experiments, using AI to design diagnostic tools more efficiently, and building a workforce pipeline, because the people who build and operate these instruments are just as important as the instruments themselves. Among the recommendations, the report calls for establishing a national calibration network for diagnostics, forming national teams to turn measurement concepts into operational tools, and transferring diagnostic expertise from public institutions to private fusion companies. And now, onto the bonus stories. FIA member Helion at Bloomberg Invest. FIA member Helion Energy's Chief Financial Officer Prag Jain spoke at Bloomberg Invest 2026 in New York, discussing how fusion could help meet the growing power demands of AI infrastructure. You can find that conversation linked in the description. FIA Annual Policy Conference. And the fusion community is gathering in Washington, D.C. this week for the FIA Annual Policy Conference. Global leaders in government, industry, regulation, investment, and academia are coming together to discuss the next steps toward commercial fusion. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and check out our Fusion News podcast for deeper discussions on the stories shaping the fusion landscape. Once again, my name is Adrian Carrillo. Thank you very much for watching.